Just a moment. I request Mr. Kapil Sibal, President SCBA, and Ms. Rachna Srivastava, Vice President SCBA, to kindly escort Honorable Dr. Justice DY Chandrachud, Honorable Chief Justice of India, and Honorable Mr. Justice Hima Kohli, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, to the dais. I request Mr. Sushil Kumar Tomar, Joint Treasurer, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Ms. Justice Hima Kohli, Judge, Supreme Court of India. I request Mr. Mukesh Kumar Singh, Member Executive, SCBA, to kindly present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Ms. Justice Hima Kohli. Thoda tej. I request Mr. Sanjay Nulli, Senior Member Executive, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Dr. DY Chandrachud, Honorable Chief Justice of India. I request Ms. Nandini Gupta, Member Executive, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Chief Justice of India. I request Ms. Jyoti Parashar, Member Executive, Supreme Court Bar Association, to present a bouquet of flowers to Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India. I request Ms. Rachna Srivastava, Vice President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly give a welcome address. Yeah.
Thank you, Vikrant. Namaskar. A very good afternoon to you all. Honorable Justice Dr. DY Chandrachud, the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Hima Kohli, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Shri R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Shri Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Vikrant Yadav, Honorary Secretary, SCBA, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of India, former Judges of the Supreme Court, Honorable Judges of the High Court of Delhi, Honorable Judges of the High Court of Telangana, Learned Solicitor General, Additional Solicitor Generals, Ms. Neelu Kohli, loving sister, and family friends of Justice Kohli, senior advocates, office bearers, and members of the Executive Committee of SCBA, Shri Vipin Nair, President, Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association, Shri Amit Sharma, Vice President, SCORA, Shri Nikhil Jain, Secretary, SCORA, other office bearers and members of the Executive Committee of SCORA, Learned Secretary General and other registrars of the Supreme Court, President, Secretaries and office bearers of other various bar associations, my colleagues at the bar, my junior colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a very warm welcome to you all. Today we have gathered to honor and celebrate the remarkable career of Justice Hima Kohli, whose journey through the judiciary has been nothing short of extraordinary. But before I reflect on the Justice Kohli's illustrious career, I want to share two gifts that the Chief Justice and other judges of the committee has given to the members of the bar. A bank with plush, ultra-modern, state-of-the-art facility, and a beautiful creche for the young lawyer parents. The creche has various designated facilities, including separate feeding area, a play area, a separate dining and sleeping area with cute small separate beds for each child. I thank the Chief Justice and other judges of the committee for this benevolence. Today, we are not merely bidding farewell to a distinguished judge, but also to a trailblazer whose legacy will inspire future generations of legal professionals, especially women in India. I begin with a quote from Judge Vanessa Ruiz, President of the International Association of Women Judges. The entry of women judges into a space from which they had historically been excluded has been a positive step in the direction of judiciaries being perceived as being more transparent, inclusive, and representative of the people whose lives they affect. By their mere presence, women judges enhance the legitimacy of courts, sending a powerful signal that they are open, accessible to those who seek recourse to justice, unquote. Justice Kohli's career is a testament to her unparalleled dedication and resilience. Unlike many women of her generation who faced societal and familial constraints, Justice Kohli charted her own path with unyielding determination. Born and raised in Delhi during the period marked by economic and social challenges, she defied conventional expectations. Justice Kohli's academic journey began with a strong foundation. When pursuing higher education, she graduated with both undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in history from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. Justice Kohli's initial academic interest transitioned to law when she took admission at the Campus Law Center, University of Delhi. Despite her initial intention to use LLB to secure a library card for preparing a competitive examinations, she soon realized her calling lay in the legal profession, and she got enrolled with Bar Council of Delhi in 1984. Justice Kohli began her career in the chambers of late Sunanda Bhandari, a distinguished advocate who later became the youngest woman judge of the Delhi High Court. She subsequently joined the chambers of late Y.K. Sabharwal, who was soon got elevated as judge of the Delhi High Court and later became the Chief Justice of India. Justice Kohli then practiced with Shri Vijayendra Jain, who also got elevated to the Delhi High Court in the year 1992. Following this, she started practicing independently. This marked the beginning of a pattern in Justice Kohli's career, working with mentors who themselves rose to prominence, demonstrating her exceptional capability and the high regard in which she has held. I am sure that later many lawyers must be wanting Justice Kohli to join their respective chambers to enable them to secure a judgeship in the High Court. In the year 1999, Justice Kohli was appointed as a standing counsel for the new Delhi Municipal Council at Delhi High Court. After 5 years in this role, she was appointed as the standing counsel for civil cases for the government of NCT Delhi. During this period, she provided her professional services to various entities, including the Delhi Pollution Control Committee, National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, and National Cooperative Development Corporation. Justice Kohli's judicial career began in 2006 when she was appointed as a judge at the Delhi High Court. During her tenure, she was involved in various committees focusing on legal aid, jail decongestion, and mediation. She was also the chairperson of the Delhi Judicial Academy and the Delhi State Legal Services Authority. In the year 2021, Justice Kohli was appointed as the Chief Justice of the Telangana High Court, becoming the first woman to hold this position. On August 31, 2021, Justice Kohli was elevated as the judge of the Supreme Court. She is the first woman judge from the Delhi High Court to have been elevated to the Supreme Court. Justice Kohli has also been chairperson of the Supreme Court's Gender Sensitization and Internal Complaints Committee. Justice Kohli has contributed to legal education by serving Chancellor of the Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad, and has been a member of the Executive Council of the university. She has also served on the Executive Council of the West Bengal National University of Juridical Sciences, Kolkata. Justice Kohli's career is not only marked by her legal acumen, but also by the exceptional quality of her judgments. Her rulings reflect a deep understanding of justice and empathy, setting a benchmark for judicial excellence. Her landmark judgment in Manisha Priyadarshini versus Aurobindo College established that maternity leave cannot be a ground for dismissal, a progressive stance that highlighted her commitment to gender equality. Similarly, her judgment in Mukesh Yadav versus Union of India protected the anonymity of juveniles in legal proceedings, showcasing her dedication to privacy and justice. With the intent to fulfill the promise that the POSH Act holds out to the working women all over the country, in Aureliano Fernandez versus State of Goa, Justice Kohli authored a judgment with Justice Bopanna and issued extensive directions to ensure the implementation of the law. Justice Kohli was part of a 5-judge constitutional bench that held on October 17, 2023, that sexual minorities in India did not have the fundamental right to marry under the Special Marriage Act 1954. The majority opinion, which Justice Kohli supported, reasoned that creating new social institutions would necessitate a new set of rights and obligations. Justice Kohli was also part of 5-judge constitutional bench that unanimously upheld the Delhi government's authority to control civil servants and manage the day-to-day administration of the National Capital Territory of Delhi. She was also part of a division bench that ruled that confessional statements made under Section 67 of the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act were inadmissible in court, aligning with the precedent set in Tufan Singh versus State of Tamil Nadu. After total disposal of 9,776 cases, Justice Kohli disposed of 3,911 cases, and out of 81 judgments she delivered by the bench, of which Justice Kohli was a member, she has authored 37 judgments. Throughout her career, Justice Kohli has been a staunch advocate for women's rights, balancing progressive ideals with the practical approach. Her judgments and public speeches have not only addressed the legal intricacies of gender issues, but also tackled broader societal challenges. From advocating against domestic violence during the lockdown to promoting environmental awareness, her contributions extend beyond the courtroom. Justice Kohli's legacy is particularly significant in the context of the role of female judges in India. Historically, women in the judiciary have had to navigate a complex landscape of bias and limited opportunities. Yet, figures like Justice Kohli have paved the way for future generations, demonstrating that exceptional legal talent and unwavering dedication can break through barriers. Her dedication to the profession, supported by her family's encouragement, speaks volumes about her commitment and the sacrifices she has made to reach the pinnacle of her career. Her genuine relationships with mutual respect has been a cornerstone of her success. Her ability to forge meaningful connection with maintaining her independence is a testament to her exceptional character and professional demeanor. Justice Kohli's contributions have been marked by a balanced approach to law, one that is progressive yet grounded in practical realities. Her judgments reflect a nuanced understanding of societal dynamics, advocating for both justice and compassion. Justice Kohli's career is a shining example of excellence in the judiciary. Her legacy will undoubtedly inspire countless future legal professionals, especially women, who aspire to make their mark in the traditionally male-dominated field. Her remarkable journey underscores that with dedication, resilience, and commitment to justice, one can indeed shape the future of legal profession. As we bid farewell to a judicial luminary, we celebrate her outstanding contributions and express our deepest gratitude for her service. Her impact on the judiciary and on the lives she has touched will resonate for years to come. In a lighter vein, Justice Kohli never let us forget our school days, when our strict teacher used to control and discipline the entire class. She conducted the court in the same manner in order to maintain highest decorum. But at the same time, she has been affection, humility, and compassion personified. Few days back, she visited Ladies' Barroom with a Chappan Bhog Thal for the ladies members. Thank you, Justice Kohli, for your entire extraordinary service and for being a beacon of justice and inspiration, being a beacon of hope and aspiration. We wish you all the best of journey ahead with lots of fun and laughter. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, to kindly address on this occasion. So.
Judging judges, I always thought is a very, not only an onerous task, but an elusive task. And in a sense, ever since I began to read Simon Lee, I thought, never attempt that. But then it's also an invitation to get into the heart, the mind, and the working of judges. And then gather how such working becomes an integral part of the life of all of us. So the institution, the Supreme Court, is so integrated in the life of the community today that it is not mere a canteen, coffee shop discussion about the lighter banter in court which goes on, but something beyond that. As I begin to learn more and more about how this intrinsic connection between judges, the work of the court, and how it shapes the destiny of the lives of the people, I've become fascinated to read more, and I'm going to talk about how both in England and Australia, there is two published volumes called Feminist Judgments. And some occasion I mentioned about that. And that's a set of endeavors by scholars, academics, and also some judges to rewrite judgments written by the House of Lords or other courts of appeals. And you can see the subtle move and the perceptions, and how those perceptions and subtly made can make a world of difference for understanding the motions of justice. That's where I would like to place in perspective Honorable Justice Hima Kohli. So, Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice Chandrachud, Justice Hima Kohli, esteemed judges of the Supreme Court, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President SCBA, media colleagues and members of the bar. We gather here today and bid farewell with a reluctant heart to a remarkable woman, judge, jurist and trailblazer in her own special ways, Justice Hima Kohli. For those who are seriously wedded to the profession, opportunities and blessings come in many forms. They become an indelible part of one's professional career, and a certain special color is added to the portrait. For Justice Hima Kohli, this blessing has come by opportunities to have been with three honorable judges, namely Justice Sananda Bandare, Chief Justice Y.K. Sabharwal, and Justice Vijender Jain. And each one of them, I gather, has left their profound influence on the honorable judge. Knowing all the three honorable judges myself, I may not be wrong in saying this very special opportunity of being with the triumvirate of judges was something very unique and does not come to all of us. And therefore, she was and been treasured by Justice Hima Kohli. Those of us who have opportunities to work for governments and public bodies are invited to know, understand, and gather the intricate facets and dimensions of the working of governance institutions. Having been a standing counsel for the New Delhi Municipal Corporation, the government of NCT Delhi, and several important public sector undertakings, Justice Kohli had gathered in a remarkable way the insights of governance institutions, which I would say has molded and informed the judicial perspectives on the bench in the Delhi High Court, as the Chief Justice of the Telangana High Court, and as the Judge of the Supreme Court. I gather that even though Hima Kohli had a short stay as the Chief Justice of the Telangana High Court, the Telangana Bar and the High Court recall her able stewardship, and maybe the government was kept on their feet, eager not to be knocked on the wrong side. Questions of equality and non-discrimination visit the High Court and the Supreme Court in several avatars. The ability to discern subtle differences in perspectives and outcomes in dealing with equality claims is a portrayal of a judge with a difference. Pursuit of livelihood in the midst of bearing with equanimity, the calls of being a mother and a homemaker is now well chronicled. And being a woman judge, Justice Kohli must have felt the importance and relevance of maternity leave for women. Can there be a cessation of employment because of maternity leave issue? The learned judge said no. in the case of a teacher working in Aurobindo College. With a huge flow of domestic disharmony and disagreements, cases flowing into the courts, it's become an onerous task for the courts to invest patience, perseverance, and understanding in dealing with them. I must say that the learned judge has acquired and possessed in good measure the capacity to plow deep into such matters. It came so naturally to Justice Kohli to consider the importance of reading the mutual consent provisions of the Hindu Marriage Act as to say that mutual consent can be withdrawn before the final motions. We see that the English law of adultery is a still ghost around us. In a matter not so much noticed, Justice Kohli, as a part of the bench in Delhi High Court, held premarital relationship will not become adultery. In the same judgment, the learned judge carefully crafted the contours of freedom of a new bride in a marital home. I consider that the above reflections and statement of law are materials of persuasive influence for the family courts in India. Husbands presenting tales of woe, financial difficulties or burdens before Justice Kohli in the context of maintenance liabilities would have found themselves very clearly on the wrong side of the law, and that is nothing surprising. Two significant contributions to feminist, as I said, understanding of law, titled Feminist Judgments from England and Australia, deserve to be seen as a special genre of legal literature. I wish judgments penned by Justice Hima Kohli and those penned by other respectable female judges are gathered and studied for their special perspectives and insights of how a female judge can add significant value to the march of law. We are always in need of this value addition to law by plurality of perspectives. Why do I say this? In state of Madhya Pradesh versus Jogendra, Justice Hima Kohli found it necessary that the law relating to dowry needs a further push. The learned judge rightly proceeded to hold that the word dowry ought to be ascribed to an expansive meaning so as to encompass any demand made on women, whether in respect of property or a valuable security or of any nature. All of us assemble as members of the bar have a social responsibility to act in aid and furtherance of the extensive directions issued by the bench of Justice Hima Kohli in Arulio Fernandez of the state of Goa to ensure that the effective implementation of sexual harassment of women at workplace Act 2013, after observing, she said this: however salutary the enactment may be, it will never succeed in providing dignity and respect that women deserve to the workplace until there is a strict adherence to the enforcement regime and a proactive approach by all state and non-state actors. That's where we fall there. The original building of the Delhi High Court gave us a great advantage. You had not to run from court to court. You can simply jump in with a swift walk. Those with a trolley of briefs in all courts were seen swiftly walking and without too much of crowd management. I can recollect pen pictures of the whole court reaching Justice Hima Kohli with a trolley of briefs and with all simplicity and head not high in the air, usual for those in demand. I wish all of us practice the simplicity in good measure. If only CCTVs were there in those days, it would have found it difficult to capture the days of a brisk walking woman lawyer bearing a gentle gait and an unfading smile. Invited to be on the bench in Supreme Court means an invitation to be a master craftsperson, and the demands becoming a master of understanding the interconnectedness between economics, sociology, political theory, intricacies of public policy, governance burdens, culture, and ultimately all to jurisprudence. This means that the intuitive grasp of the balance of choices. I should say that Justice Hima Kohli demonstrated this grasp as part of the bench that decided the wrongs and excesses of freebies in Ashwini Kumar Upadhyaya, underscored the need to review the powers of the Speaker and the Governor under the 10th schedule of the Constitution in Subhash Desai, the sensitiveness required in handling liberty issues in NDPS cases in the Narcotics Control Bureau appeal on post-arrest bail, the relevance and evaluation of a multitude of factors in the right to private defense issue in ex-Captain Mahadev, in emphasizing the importance of victims' right to be heard at all stages in criminal proceedings in Jagdeep Singh case arising out of the Lakhimpur Kheri violence instance, astute balancing of national security and liberty in the Pegasus case. I also gather some notable pieces of judicial elegance as a judge of the Delhi High Court, something like the colorful Chhat Puja celebration with its cultural dimension came in for balancing the right to health of the public, then employing the authority of the court in going to the rescue of a student deprived of a well-earned gold medal for outstanding performance, holding a disproportionate the reckoning of a mere omission to state some fact that are fatal in the case of a highly qualified candidate at the final stages of induction into the civil service and saving a career. These are very artful ways of dealing with justice administration. I've chosen only a few to show how the learned judge very ably became a master craftsperson, to handle with sternness and clarity, but blended with realism, issues where persons offering public services in the field of health claim tall places beyond the disciplines of law requires artfulness. I have in mind the Baba Ramdev matter. We must have lighter moments in courts too, which we saw in this matter, alongside the seriousness needed to drive home the principles of accountability and social responsibilities. History was a subject of choice for her academically oriented maternal family. Her great-grandfather, a grandfather, and his siblings were postgraduates and professors of history. Following their footsteps, she pursued BA History at St. Stephen's College, along with a master's degree in the same subject. She decided to give a shot at UPSC since her father had a disposition in favor of entering public service. Little did the family know that Justice Kohli probably took up the study of history to make history herself by adorning the seat of Delhi High Court and in due course as a judge of the Supreme Court, contributing to his jurisprudence. Her perspectives and personality are reflected not only in the judgments but also in her lectures and advocacy for social causes. Her ideas are eloquently reflected in inspiring talk delivered by her in a webinar on domestic violence during lockdown conducted by the Association of ILA Alumni and the Indian Law Institute. She very forcefully advocated that no gender-neutral laws are required to address domestic violence issues. This stand, it is stated, also received social media reverts. She was labeled as feminazi by a social media tabloid. Nevertheless, her thoughts are grounded in pragmatism and deep understanding of the perennial need for crafting all those subtle balances of life. Justice Kohli highlighted the key challenges present before family courts in the 4th Regional Conference on Sensitization of Family Court Matters organized by Madras High Court and Tamil Nadu Judicial Academy. And she addressed the challenges faced by women of Indian judiciary in a speech at the Society of Women Lawyers in India. In a YouTube lecture on Posh Act 2013, she highlighted the hypocritical workplace treatment of women in contrast with their valued position in households. What a thing to be uttered more and more by all of us. We must remember that all these insights must remain part of a continued study of women's empowerment. Her leadership's journey from a young counsel growing up in the Delhi High Court to becoming a Supreme Court judge is nothing short of inspirational, marked by excellence, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to justice. As we mark the end of her tenure on the bench, we reflect on her distinguished career and the profound impact she has made on all of us, particularly the judiciary. Beyond her legal acumen, Justice Kohli is known for her humility, grace, and kindness. She has always been approachable, willing to mentor young lawyers and supportive her colleagues. Her dedication to nurturing talent and promoting inclusivity within the legal community is a testament to her generous spirit and belief in the power of collaboration. Beyond the courtroom, Justice Kohli has been deeply involved in promoting legal education and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. I am sure that we can expect Justice Kohli to continue to be involved in the promotion and strengthening of alternate dispute resolution mechanisms, more importantly, mediation. As she steps down from the bench, we are filled with gratitude for her service and inspired by the path she has paved. Though we will miss her presence in the courtroom, we know that her influence will endure in more than one way, continuing to shape the future of our legal system and our jurisprudence. Justice Hima Kohli, on everyone here today, I thank you for your years of dedicated service to the cause of justice, with probably nothing else of any personal importance to be pursued. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors, and we are confident that whatever path you may choose, we will continue to make a positive difference. Your guardian angel, Ms. Neelu Kohli, has been more than your sister. May I extend her to all our warm wishes. May your next chapter be as fulfilling and impactful as the remarkable career you have had in the judiciary. Thank you, Justice Kohli, for your tireless work, your wisdom, and your unwavering commitment to justice. Farewell and all the best.
I request Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly address the gathering.
Good evening, Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Hima Kohli, distinguished judges of the Supreme Court of India, judge from Telangana High Court, Attorney General for India, Vice President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Secretary Vikrant Yadav of the Bar Association, members of the Executive Committee of the Bar Association, senior advocates, young lawyers, and friends. And I was listening to both these speeches and I was wondering, what am I to say? The entire career, both at the bar and the bench, has already been stated. So let me move on to something else and get away from my speech. Justice Hima Kohli is the 9th woman judge in the Supreme Court of India. We should ask ourselves the question, how is it that after almost 75 years since India's independence, there are only 9 women judges in the Supreme Court? That tells you something about the male mindset in this country. It tells you something about our legal system. It tells you something about the nature of our profession. It also allows you to reflect as to how we carve the future of our country, especially in the legal profession. It's not easy to become a judge of the Supreme Court in the context of the travails and tribulations that a woman has to face as he makes her way to the bar and to the bench. And a woman who has carved her own career, charted her own course in life. This is something that is phenomenal. There are very few who are able to do that. As I watch Justice Hima Kohli in the Supreme Court, I was also told that she was the head girl of St. Thomas School when she was in school. Now, I realized why she was the head girl. Well, while she presides over the bench, she has that authoritative mark that allows you to say what you want, and she decisively tells you what she wants. And that's how it goes in court. Well, why is it, and let's go back to this question, that we don't have enough women judges? Today, of course, the nature of the legal system has changed in the sense that now we have, ever since the law schools, national law schools were established, there are lots of women judges, women students who are going and getting degrees in law, and many of them get absorbed in very many law firms and doing a lot of commercial work. Now, if you really look at the Supreme Court, there are very fine lady lawyers in our court. And yet, if you really notice, none of them is doing litigation in relation to business matters. That also should tell you something. That whereas you have a lot of lady advocates who are in law firms who deal with complex business issues, when it comes to litigation, women lawyers are not briefed in matters relating to women, and judges who are sitting here decide, while they are in the Supreme Court, decide complex questions in relation to business, and it's a phenomenal job that they do. So I request the Chief Justice of India to look at law firms and women who are aware of the complexities of the business community. If Indian women can become CEOs of Pepsi and run banks in India and lead commercial organizations in India, why should not women lawyers who are working in law firms dealing with complex legal issues not be absorbed and brought to the judiciary so that they can be appointed in different high courts? I also request the Chief Justice of India to look at some of our lady lawyers who are practicing in this court and doing phenomenal practice. Now, they should be picked up and actually moved to various high courts around the country. You've done it with male lawyers. You should also do it with women lawyers. And I think this is something that we should collectively, look at. Because ultimately, if you give responsibility, and you know that our women are able to discharge any kind of responsibility, including responsibility of the highest position in the country, President, Prime Minister of India, why not judges of the Supreme Court, and why not more judges in the High Court? And I think this ratio must change. And I have a little poem which I'm going to give to her at the end of this, which I've written for you, Justice Kohli, to tell you as to what your journey has been in this court. I can only say that it's been phenomenal. And the most important characteristic of a judge, and there are essential traits of a judge, and this is what I feel, are a clear and forward-thinking vision, which you had, which a lot of our judges have, a firm grasp of practical realities, steadfast ethical principles, and the bravery to act on them. If our judges were to actually each of them have these 4 essential traits, I think our judicial system will bloom to another level altogether. And I think that the problem in our country is that beti padhao to theek hai, but bete padhao ki bhi bahut zarurat hai. They need to be told the importance and the significance of a woman's role in the family, the importance of women to allow them the freedom to move forward in any profession that they want to embrace. And Justice Kohli's career is symptomatic of what women judges can do in this country. I won't say anything more because everything about you has already been said. So I just didn't want to repeat what I had written in this speech, so therefore I moved away. But let me give me this opportunity to present you with what I brought for you, and give me the privilege to read it to the honorable judges of this court. Thank you. Justice Hima Kohli, A Glorious Journey. Crisp, upfront, within the law, beyond contours, won't furrow far. When convinced law must prevail, will not mince words, there hangs the tale. A heart of gold, razor-sharp mind, your judge-like ways were never blind. Willing to hear, ruminate, if cocking a snook will seal their fate. Law and equity find a place when in conflict each has its day. What was once a male preserve, their dominance a falling curve. There'll come a day, I hope it's soon, with more of you, this court will bloom. Patience, a woman's creed, understanding judges is what we need. As we say goodbye, never forget you left behind in memory's nest the candor and your courteous ways. Your stint throughout was full of grace. We wish you well. We wish you well for years to come. You worked real hard. Now have some fun.
Now I request Honorable Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Honorable Chief Justice of India, to kindly give his address on this occasion.
Our dear sister, Justice Hima Kohli, her family members, including Neelu, all those who have come here to be part of this occasion on the last working day of Justice Hima Kohli as a judge of the Supreme Court, including Justice Nanda, who has come from the Telangana High Court, the first woman judge of the Telangana High Court from the bar, brother and sister judges of the Supreme Court, Mr. R. Venkatramani, Attorney General for India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President SCBA, office bearers and members of SCBA and SCORA, including the President of SCORA and the other office bearers, ladies and gentlemen. Well, after the beautiful poem which has been coined by Mr. Kapil Sibal, I don't think I can match him in his creativity by coining a poem of my own, but I can certainly reproduce what somebody else has written, so I'll begin with it. And I'll begin by saying, हिमा, गूंजते रहे हैं अल्फाज मेरे कानों में, गूंजते रहते हैं अल्फाज मेरे कानों में, तू तो आराम से कह देती है अल्लाह हाफिज़. As we gather here this evening to bid farewell to one of our dear and esteemed colleagues and a very dear friend, Justice Hima Kohli, I derive solace from the fact that we may be parting with her company here at the Supreme Court, but her wisdom, her robust common sense as a fellow student of law will continue to shine through her pursuits and will continue to inspire the profession. I've had the privilege of sharing the dais with Justice Hima Kohli, and I believe I speak for my colleagues when I say that her legacy is truly one of a kind. Born in a family of history professors, Justice Hima Kohli followed in the footsteps of her grandfather and studied history at St. Stephen's College in Delhi. She ended up pursuing LLB only so that she could have access to a library that would facilitate her preparation for the civil services examination. Fortunately for the profession, the library access eventually opened doors for a wholly different career path. A first-generation lawyer at a time when law was hardly considered the chosen path by women, Justice Kohli's journey is a journey of impeccable strength, courage and grit. The bench and bar would agree that we have been fortunate to have shared this space with her. We sat together during COVID times when the world around us presented a very bleak picture. But sitting with her during those very difficult times, there was always a ray of hope in the future of humanity. Justice Kohli generously credits the mentorship of some of the finest legal minds for her successes. Justice Sunanda Bhandare, Justice Sabharwal, and Justice Vijendra Jain. As young lawyers, we inherit the law and the legal conventions from our predecessors. We age in the process, unlearn our own biases, and hopefully become wiser. Only a few of us, however, remember what it feels like to be a young lawyer and to feel completely lost in the crowd. I think Hima has that ability still within her to feel what it feels like to be lost in the crowd. Justice Kohli is among the latter, therefore. In her engagement with the bar and in her interactions with young students, she brims with the desire to give back what she received from her mentors. She puts her strengths behind will, women in law and litigation, which provides institutional support to young women entering the profession. From seeing high dropout rates among women lawyers to now creating institutional safeguards for young women, Justice Kohli has led by example. Over the course of her career, Justice Hima Kohli has donned many a hat. In her own words, she thrives on the satisfaction that one gets in being able to do something worthy to make a difference in one's life. Her many achievements as a litigator, as a High Court judge, as the Chief Justice of the Telangana High Court, and finally at the Supreme Court are certainly personal milestones. In addition to that, every step of the way, Justice Kohli has enriched the institutions she has been a part of. She has served as a standing counsel for the New Delhi Municipal Council, additional standing counsel for the government of the NCT, and as chairperson of the committee of the Delhi Judicial Academy and the Delhi State Legal Services Authority. Justice Hima Kohli was invited to the bench in 2006. She has been candid about her initial trepidations in addressing the bar with the sheer volume of her questions. I'm certain that her questions have served a whole generation of young lawyers as well. She has allowed young lawyers an opportunity to hone their skills under her astute watch. Swift to spot injustice, Justice Kohli is swifter in finding meaningful long-term solutions to some of these problems. Perturbed by the unlawful detention of an inmate despite a bail order, Justice Kohli directed that the prison administration would be specifically trained in order to prevent such lapses. She also directed that law officers be engaged in order to assist the department. In another decision, she took note of the inadequate infrastructure to address the needs of persons with disabilities appearing for the Delhi University's online final examinations. The university was thus directed to make provisions for scribes for students with visual impairment. She went on to assume charge at the Telangana High Court, where she would shatter yet another glass ceiling and become the first woman to serve as the Chief Justice of that High Court. She stayed the felling of 1,300 trees that form a part of the KBR National Park and were a crucial lung space for the city. Chief Justice Marshall of the US Supreme Court remarked that the Constitution was an enduring document to be adapted to the various crises of human affairs. During arguably one of the most testing of crises, the COVID-19 pandemic, she rose to the occasion, exemplifying the role of constitutional courts in safeguarding public interest. She denounced the sealing of Telangana state borders to prevent the entry of patients from adjoining states for treatment. Justice Kohli directed the state to make adequate arrangement for migrant workers' movement. In such unprecedented times, she was alert to the iniquities of the impact of such restrictions. She passed a slew of directions to regulate the prices of essential medical services to ensure accessibility. At the Supreme Court, Justice Hima Kohli has been a part of benches that settle crucial matters of constitutional importance, such as in the government of the NCT of Delhi versus Union of India. More recently, Justice Kohli weighed in on a range of issues concerning citizens' right to health, to principles of just punishment. A bench comprising of Justice Kohli noted how the implementation of the POSH Act is being scuttled due to the absence of proper internal complaint committees and local committees, and sought responses from the relevant departments. Justice Hima Kohli's legacy lies behind her work on the bench. Justice Kohli has been a distinguished proponent of alternative dispute resolution in India. In her proactive national and international engagements, including the recently concluded London International Disputes Week, she has vehemently underlined the untapped potential of ADR in India. Justice Kohli has been a voice of reason. She stands for the rule of law, sensitivity, and sound judicial decision-making. She is the role model to many a budding lawyer, judges, and legal professionals who chart the unconventional and untrodden paths. She has used her voice to mainstream issues facing women in the profession. Justice Kohli has underlined that women who enter the profession are not mere subsets, and their issues are broader issues of the profession and of justice. As a chairperson of the Supreme Court's Gender Sensitization and Internal Complaints Committee, she has maintained that gender justice is central to a just society. Above all, Hima has sent, I think, a very crucial message that to succeed as a woman, you do not have to forsake your femininity. And I think that is very crucial because every woman professional brings a crucial element of her own ingrained compassion and sensitivity. To succeed in our profession, you don't have to behave like a man. You can continue to be a woman and bring the best traits of a woman to the profession. I recently had the pleasure to attend a court complex inauguration ceremony at the Karkaduma Court alongside Justice Hima Kohli, where she remarked about how the dais was so high, she wondered if she was even visible to the audience. It is my belief that she has stood tall in her commitment to the rule of law, to better justice delivery, and to inclusion. I'm confident that Justice Kohli is an inspiration to young lawyers and judges across the country who I'm confident derive immense strength from her journey. A last word on what the President of the Bar mentioned, the need to have more women in the high courts, in the Supreme Court. I couldn't disagree with him, or I couldn't agree with him more. But then where do we begin? I think we have to begin with the building blocks of the legal profession. You look at what is happening in the district judiciary today. Just a few days ago, when the Lok Adalat was going on, I had a left flank in my courtroom full of young graduates, they appeared to be. So I said, who are these people? And they said they have all young judicial officers from the Delhi district judiciary. So I invited them for a cup of tea to the lounge after we rose that evening. And I learned that 78 out of 108 recruits to the Delhi district judiciary are women. Now, you may say that this is because Delhi is such a global, cosmopolitan place. Women like to come here because, you wouldn't be transferred from Baharech to Mirzapur to Sehranpur. You'd be, after all, transferred within the confines of the city of Delhi. That's only part of the story. Because you find in the larger states of the nation, whether it is Gujarat, it is Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, even Uttar Pradesh, women are now far exceeding the 50% benchmark. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us about the fact that the spread of women's education has spurred the involvement and inclusion of women in the workplace. But it tells us one very important thing, that where we create equal opportunity workspaces for women, women are capable of succeeding. The reason why women are joining the district judiciary in such large numbers is because there is an equal or a level playing field at the very threshold. Well, what is the problem with the legal profession? The problem with the legal profession is that there is no level playing field for women when they enter the profession. I would therefore request all seniors, let's stop recruitment to seniors' chambers purely on the basis of networks. Friends' children, network children coming into our chambers. Why don't we have, say, the SCBA put out that, well, these are the seniors who would like to recruit juniors for the next term? And why don't we have some sort of a level playing field for juniors to apply for recruitment to chambers? So juniors, particularly women who are not connected to the law, can apply, appear at interviews and be selected for seniors' chambers. So if we create a level playing field for women, these experiences of the district judiciary indicate that women are capable of succeeding. And these women who are today joining the district judiciary are then going to go on and become High Court judges and eventually become Supreme Court judges. We ought not to be asking ourselves why so few judges of the Supreme Court who are women. We have to begin today and see how better do we create working conditions for women in the legal profession, in the district judiciary, from the district judiciary to the high courts. How do we ensure that women don't fall by the wayside when families, children, so on and so forth come into your life? And that's why I felt that the creche which we have created today in the Supreme Court, a very crucial initiative, because by the creation of this creche, we have increased the capacity of our earlier creche, which was about 20 children, to now almost 100 children. So the idea of doing this is to ensure that we create equal opportunity workspaces for women. And I'll only conclude with this, something which I said a little while back, that truly I think Hima's example of what she's done as a judge is a clear indicator that you can be a successful person in terms of your own personal commitments to family, to your sister, to your parent, and yet be a successful professional as a judge. At all the way through her career, and particularly in the court, she never let anybody have an inkling of the fact that her mother was seriously sick. She would still come into court every day, do her work with a smile, come and meet us in the lounge every morning, have a coffee, cut an occasional joke with all of us. And then, of course, when we sat on the bench together, share what was happening in her own personal life. So then I'll conclude with something that Shehzad Ahmed has said. And he says, छोड़ने में मैं नहीं जाता उसे दरवाजे तक, छोड़ने मैं नहीं जाता उसे दरवाजे तक, लौट आता हूँ कि अब कौन उसे जाता देखे. So I conclude with this note of gratitude to Hima. I believe that you are leaving the path much broader than you found it, and that many of you in the audience will follow in Hima's footsteps. Thank you.
I request Honorable Ms. Justice Hima Kohli, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to kindly address the gathering.
Very good evening. The podium's fine. I can be seen and heard. The perfect height. Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Justice Chandrachud, my colleagues present here, Justice Nanda, Judge, High Court of Telangana, former judges of the Delhi High Court, Justice Dalwant Singh, learned Attorney General of India, Mr. R. Venkatramani, learned ASGs, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, SCBA, Ms. Rachna Srivastava, Vice President, SCBA, Mr. Vikrant Yadav, Secretary, SCBA, President, Secretary, and executive members of SCORA, senior advocates, members of the Bar Association, Secretary General and registrars from the registry, my sister Neelu, family and friends, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. This speech is in continuation of my two addresses to the bar. One, when I had said my goodbyes to my parent court, the High Court of Delhi, on being elevated as a judge, as a Chief Justice of the state of Telangana. And the second one, when I had bid farewell to Telangana High Court on being elevated to the Supreme Court. I had stated in my first speech that my life could be slotted into three phases. The first phase commenced with the schooling through college till completion of law. The second phase was that of a first-generation lawyer that lasted for 22 years. And the third phase commenced on my being elevated as a judge of the High Court of Delhi in May 2006. In January 21, I had concluded my farewell speech at the High Court of Delhi, stating that as the curtains were dropping on my third phase of life as a judge of that court, the call of duty beckoned me to the state of Telangana to discharge my duties as the first woman Chief Justice of that state. While bidding adieu to the Telangana High Court in August 21, I had mentioned that on the date of entry into the judicial system, we are all aware of our date of exit. Though I was ready with my bags packed for laying down office on completion of my tenure as a judge of the High Court on 1st September 21, Justice N.V. Ramanna, the then Chief Justice of India, and members of the collegium that includes the CJI before us, gave me an opportunity to serve in this court. Thus started the fifth phase of my life. Life came to a full cycle on my entering the portals of the Supreme Court. In the year 1984, I started my career as a fledgling lawyer in this court from the chambers of Justice Sunanda Bandari. In a couple of months, I had moved to the High Court to work in the chambers of Justice Y.K. Sabharwal, who went on to become the Chief Justice of India, and Justice Vijendra Jain, who demitted office as the Chief Justice of the state of Punjab and Haryana. My seniors were more than generous in giving me opportunities to hone my skills of drafting the smallest of applications to full-fledged plaints, to petitions, to appeals, and to appear and argue in matters in the court. They not only trained me in legal jurisprudence, but also in court craft and, above all, legal ethics and court courtesies. These included never turning one's back to the court when moving out of a courtroom, rising to give a seat to a senior colleague who may be standing in the aisle, waiting till the end for the court to rise if one was the last counsel whose matter had been taken up. All these lessons were honed under the strict tutelage of my seniors. At the same time, they opened their homes and heart and accepted me as a part of their extended families, for which I'm thankful. When I arrived in this court to take oath on 31st of August 21, there was some trepidation in my heart, particularly since the first bench in which I was assigned to sit was none other than the Honorable Chief Justice, Justice DY Chandrachud, my batchmate from college, who has always been known to be meticulous in reading the briefs, coming thoroughly prepared on facts and law, and being ever so respectful to members of the bar. There was so much to learn and absorb in the new working environment. At the same time, I came here with a heart full of gratitude as I was back in this court in a different avatar, after a hiatus of about 3.5 decades to be a part of the bench. It was unprecedented for 9 judges to have taken oath together. As a part of that batch, 9 of us have built a special bond of affection for each other and call ourselves V9. My senior colleagues and those who joined us after that have also weaved their way into my life. This phase of my life has been more than satisfying, as also challenging in different ways. Within a few months of my elevation to this court, my mother was diagnosed with cancer, to which she ultimately succumbed in November last year. It was a struggle to find a balance between the commitments at work and at home. But for the unstinting support of my sister Neelu, I would never have been able to focus on my work and the demands that are made on a judge of this court. Though I have spent my entire life in Delhi and my legal career primarily in Delhi High Court, first as a practicing lawyer and then as a judge, and therefore a large part of the bar in both the courts is familiar to me, since many lawyers practice in both the courts. The working of this court is entirely different from my experience in both the high courts that I've been to. In this court, we are expected to go through anywhere between 60 to 65 cases for admission on a good day and 80 to 90 cases on a bad day. Mondays and Fridays go in a whirlwind, and 2 days before Mondays and Fridays that build up to the admission days is like participating in a never-ending marathon. Files just keep pouring in, many times till the very last minute. But then one slowly gets into the rote and accustomed to furiously working through huge briefs. The after-notice miscellaneous days may not be so heavy, but to my mind, the level of preparation has to be the same. It just helps us keep pace with the number of cases and try to maintain a higher output vis-a-vis input of matters. After all, we are here to serve the public, who are the real consumers of justice. On the personal front, my mother held on for a year, and after her diagnosis, and then her health started deteriorating. The pressure of work and the constant worry at the back of my mind took a real toll. But then, this is what our profession is all about, both as lawyers and as judges. Once we are in court, we try to keep aside all our worries for family and home and our personal problems, put our best foot forward to give our best to our work. I do try doing that. It is difficult to take off for even a single day. That guilt of 60 to 65 matters being adjourned for another day looms large in our minds. In my short stint in this court, and I will call it short since it's exactly 3 years and 1 day ago that I was elevated to the Supreme Court, I have been lucky to forge new bonds with my colleagues who have been more than generous in their affection and concern for me and my family. I have seen 3 Chief Justices functioning and sat in combination with 16 benches. I've had the pleasure of being a part of constitution benches that were addressed by the best legal brains in the country. Those arguments not only expanded the horizons of one's mind, they also threw up several constitutional challenges and kept one alive and ticking in every which way. The beauty of this court is that no matter is too insignificant for it not to be entertained. Sitting in this court, I have not only wrestled with complicated legal wrangles, questioning the vires of statutes, and delved into fine nuances of the Constitution, I've also handled humdrum cases like those relating to MACT, bails, labor and service cases, and family disputes. These are matters that closely touch the lives of not only the litigants, but also deeply impact the lives of all the family members. They may not have serious monetary fallouts, but they have the underpinnings of life, of liberty, and livelihood for parties who pin their hope, and that is the last hope, on this court. Indeed, the onus on a judge of the Supreme Court of India is heavy, being the last court. At the same time, I've tried to remind myself through all these 18 years to wear the mantle lightly. On a lighter note, as the youngest member of my family of 3 women, having lost my father several years ago in the early 90s, when I entered the driveway of our home, I was always reminded by the family that I should remember to leave the mantle of a judge right there at the gate and conduct myself at home as normally as I did before becoming a judge. I can assure you that I have tried hard to do that, though my sister, who's sitting in the audience, may differ on this. On many an occasion, I was told that not only was I being too pompous, but was also using all kind of legal jargon in normal conversation, which was most unacceptable. Who knows that better than this audience? I'm sure that each of you have been accosted with these complaints by your near and dear ones at some stage. I have not only forged bonds with my colleagues, but over the years built personal relationships with my law clerks, starting with the first one to have joined me in the High Court of Delhi, Ms. Padma Priya, who is present amongst us, who's now an advocate on record practicing in this court, to the current ones who are also here, Karthik, Anushka, Anish, Bindlish. I'm immensely thankful for the wholehearted support of my former law clerks who had associated with me in this court. Mr. Utkarsh Kashyap, whose father is present amongst us, Mr. Ehsas Puri, Ms. Tejasvi and Shailendra, who are here, Ms. Aditi and Brahma, who are abroad doing their LLMs. Each one of them have worked meticulously and supported me, be it in doing research work or preparing notes of matters or collating material for speaking assignments. I'm thankful to the Secretary General, Mr. Atul Kurhekar, and the registrars and their team of officers and officials in the registry, especially the medical, protocol, and transport branches under the leadership of Mr. Satish Arora and the judges' administration, in particular, Gagan Soni. I also thank Dr. Shama Gupta for the medical assistance rendered by her and the team, who are only a call away for us. My PSs, Ms. Kalyani Gupta and Shiv Kumar, and the senior PAs, Rachna Rakheja, Dilshad Ali, and Abhishek Sharma, have gone beyond the call of their duty to assist me at work and take care of my needs, as also that of my family members, particularly during the critical phase of my mother's illness. I must thank my non-clerical staff working at home, including Mr. Dilip Kumar, Mr. Shankar Prasad, Mr. Chokar, Mr. Abhimanyu Prasad, Mr. Dinesh Chand, Mr. Jay Bhagwan, and Ms. Bimla Rani, who was working with us from early days at the High Court and served us till she passed away in November 23, around the same time as my mother left. And in the Home Office, Mr. Mohan Lal, Mr. Vijay Bhushan, Mr. Prem Singh Negi, Mr. Rahul, Mr. Satish Kumar, Mr. Mukesh, Mr. Krishan Kumar. My driver, Saifi, is a recent addition and must be named by me. My thanks goes out to my court masters, Mr. Nandkishore, Ms. Geeta Ahuja, Mr. Pooja Sharma, court clerk Himanshu, library clerk Deepak, court attendant Devanand, court moderator Ms. Chandana, and usher Mr. Ramkaran Singh. They have ably assisted me in discharging my duties in the courtroom. I must acknowledge the services rendered by my personal security officers, Mr. Sudhir and Mr. Sanjay, who have been with me throughout my tenure as a judge of the High Court and now this court. and also Mr. Ajay, who joined in on my elevation to this court. They are equally a part of my extended family. Last but not the least is the role of our family members who stand by us through thick and thin. My late parents and my sister have been my solid, unstinting supporters. I have drawn strength from their resilience and shall continue doing so in the future. Whatever I have achieved is due to this silent support of the family over the years. This brings me to the end of the 5th phase of my life. Before I ready myself to turn the pages of my book of life to start an exciting new 6th phase, I'm reminded of what the American non-fiction author Carl Newport said in his book Deep Work, and I quote, "When you work, work hard. When you are done, be done." I propose to experience what Jeff Foster, the British writer and speaker, describes as the fullness of emptiness and the sheer life of my unproductive moments. But that will only be to take a short pause long enough to breathe in some fresh air. I do remember stating in my farewell speech in the Delhi High Court that I have started my career by setting up a mini office in the boot of my car. With the grace of the Almighty and the good wishes of my loved ones, now that I lay down office, having served in the highest court of the land, let me assure you, I do not intend to hang my boots literally, or shall I personalize it and say, store my sandals. Very recently, I was asked if I am retiring or re-attiring. It didn't take me a moment to say that I am re-attiring. This only means that the blacks, the whites, and the grays will not take all the space in my wardrobe. As Socrates once mourned, beware the barrenness of a busy life. In my 6th phase of life, I will try and re-attire myself in different colors of the vibgure and partake all the hues that life has to offer. This means work, but make time for family and friends, and reignite my interest in hobbies that I have long placed on the back burner. I have maintained, and I say so today, as judges, we are deputationists, and our parent cadre always remains the bar. I conclude by thanking you all for being a part of my journey, for accepting me with all my follies and foibles, for being generous with your kind words and gracious with your compliments. I accept them all with the humility at my command. Thank you for your time, for your patience, and your presence.
Now I will read the message given by Honorable Ms. Justice Hima Kohli, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to the members of the bar. Esteemed judges and members of Supreme Court Bar Association, as I stand on the cusp of my retirement, I am filled with a deep sense of gratitude and humility. Serving as a judge of Supreme Court of India has been one of the greatest honors of my life. The journey has been both challenging and rewarding, and I am profoundly thankful for the trust and confidence that has been reposed in me during this time. I have had the privilege of working with some of the most brilliant legal minds in the country, both on the bench and at the bar. Your dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to the cause of justice have been a constant source of inspiration for me. The collaborative spirit and mutual respect that characterizes our profession have made my tenure enriching and fulfilling. I am deeply appreciative of the support and respect that I have received from all of you. As I demit office, I carry with me not only the memories of landmark cases and judicial pronouncements, but also the enduring bonds of friendship and professional respect that I have been fortunate enough to forge with many of you. I am confident that Supreme Court will continue to thrive as a custodian of the Constitution, and I have no doubt that SCBA will remain at the forefront, continuing to play a vital role in upholding the rule of law. Once again, thank you for warm wishes and for honoring serving a dispensation of justice with you. It has been a privilege to be associated with this esteemed institution, and I leave with full heart and gratitude and pride. Thank you. Thank you, Leadership. Now to present a memento on behalf of SCBA to Honorable Ms. Justice Hima Kohli, Judge Supreme Court of India, I request Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, Ms. Rachna Srivastava, Vice President, and all other office bearers to kindly join us on the dais, including President, Vice President, Secretary of SCBA can also join because they are also members of ABAR. I now request Dr. Sandeep Singh, Joint Secretary, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Vikranji. Very good evening to all of you. We are grateful. We are very grateful to the Honorable Justice DY Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India, for accepting our invitation to preside over this function. Sir, I extend my heartfelt thanks for exemplary dedication to uphold the justice. Your leadership and integrity continues to inspire confidence in the judiciary. We are also grateful to the Honorable Justice Hima Kohli, Judge Supreme Court of India, for accepting our invitation today. We gather to honor a distinguished jurist as she departs from the bench, leaves behind a legacy of profound wisdom. As we bid your farewell, I extend my deepest gratitude for exceptional service to the judiciary. We are further grateful to the family members of the Honorable Justice Hima Kohli, Judge Supreme Court of India, for accepting our invitation for gracing this occasion. We are grateful to the Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of India and the Honorable Judges of High Court for gracing this occasion. We are grateful to R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General of India, law officers, Secretary General and Registrar of the Supreme Court of India. We are also grateful to Kapil Sibal, President Supreme Court Bar Association, Rachna Srivastava, Vice President Supreme Court Bar Association, and Shri Vikrant Yadav, Honorable Secretary of Supreme Court Bar Association. I also thanks to Vipul Nayyar, President SCBA, thanks to Amit Sharma, Vice President SCBA, thanks to Nikhil, Secretary SCBA, and a special thanks to Sonia Mathur, Senior Advocate, Shobha Gupta, Senior Advocate, Mahalakshmi Pavni, Senior Advocate, and Shri Mrs. Priya Hingorani, Senior Advocate. Thanks to all the EC members of the and other office bearers of the Bar Association, press, electronic media persons for gracing this occasion. Finally, I wish to thank that SCBA staff and the registry staff for their cooperation for making this function success. Thank you very much. Now I request all the respected members and the distinguished guests for please join us for the high tea.
My dear Dr. Sandeep missed out our six-time President, Mr. P.H. Parekh, Senior Advocate.
Parikh sir, very sorry.
High tea is arranged on ground floor. Kindly join us over there.